You want an investment edge, but all you hear is noise, hype, and half-truths. Every signal is solid information, but only if you can see the bigger picture. This is where the Quasar magic happens. Weather, charts, news, all financial signals funneled into a single dashboard. Data alone isn't enough. Quasar Markets turns it into energy, sharp, clear, precise. Optimize with Quasar Markets today. Your edge when investing.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Big beat. You are all over it, my friend. Google, Google, Google. Someone's been telling me that for the last couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, when people ask me all the time, hey, what should I invest in? And I tell people, well, what's been beaten up, right? And if you look at the Mag 7, it was very simple to me. Google was the most beaten up, and there was no reason for it because the rhetoric around it was, I don't use Google search anymore. Yeah, right. Neither do I. But Google is bigger than just search engines, right? Google has cloud. Google has all these different layers. Sundar Pichai told you that, right? He said, look, I got a lot going on here. It ain't just about my search engine. And that's what they're saying. So here we go, right? It's not even about today, right? To me, it's about the frothiness of this market. And even with Google, always good numbers, look what's happening. IBM had great numbers this morning. Look what happens. It's down, right? But a company that didn't have good numbers, not good sales, and you and I have been talking about that because we saw it coming out of China, was Tesla. Tesla's the same situation. So Google is telling you all of these things that, hey, look, the world's not so good, but guess what? We have the pickaxes and the shovels that they need in order to make it happen, and we can tell you that the world's not that good. Now, we saw the unemployment numbers this morning. Coming out with
slow down, I can't keep up to all these.
Oh, sorry, you got all this stuff. I love it. But the jobless claims did come in a little bit better. So guess what? Yeah, you're right. Look at the bond market. All of these things happens. Yeah, sorry, I didn't know you had all these things. Look at you being on top of it. Look, overall revenue. The revenue of Google jumped 14%. Yeah. And yet people were beating it up because, oh, I don't use Google for search anymore. Well, I'm glad you don't, but guess who does? All the companies that have all of their equipment with Google that run it through. Your Gmail probably runs.
I was going to bring that up is, because you, while you've been very positive on Google, you have been negative on their search and the fact that they've used this and their AI being only a little bit better than Apple's. What I will tell you, though, is that I've seen from my wife and other folks talking about getting trained on Copilot from their jobs. So they've done a good job of integrating with large corporations and becoming the AI that's being approved for some of these larger organizations to use. And I didn't really realize that till now. And it's because they have that connection, right? The salesperson's already at that office talking to them about their Gmail account, talking to them about their other Google services, and they're saying, hey, why don't we do some training for you on Copilot? So they're doing a good job of trying to onboard people.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft's Copilot is not that good, right? It's really it's a back end, it's a chat bot. It's not
that's all it is.
Chat. Yeah.
So Google has a chance to really pull ahead here.
Yeah, and that's pretty much why that Copilot is working well, because it has a large user base. But the system itself sucks. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's probably maybe a step above Teams, and nobody likes Teams. I mean, if you like Teams, you're in a different world. I don't know anybody likes Teams, right? Even people who have to use it, Teams don't even like Teams. But it's a Microsoft product, so people understand Microsoft. If it's an Apple product, people understand Apple. That's why Apple Intelligence. But neither one of these companies were on the cutting edge of AI. They were literally in the back end. Now they're playing catch up, and they will play catch up, and they'll spend gobs of money in order to make it catch up. But at the same time, it's not, you're going to see some M&A in this. I mean, if people ask me all the time, what should I be looking at? And it's Perplexity to me, right? I think that Anthropic with the narrative side of things is very strong. I am, as everybody knows here, Mr. AI. So I live on an AI on a daily basis.
But I have to ask you this, since you did bring that up and you are Mr. AI, are you using different AIs for different search types? Because I am.
Yeah, I have 18 different AIs within my system based on.
Like, you know, what I find is like Grok is the best if you want social commentary, if you want to know what's going on, because it's Twitter, it's, you know, it's databases.
Yeah, but Grok is like its owner, racist, right? So I try to stay away from Grok as much as possible. I look at it, but you're right. When I look at Twitter, and I want to see what the fundamentally what the psyche of
what's social sentiment? What's social sentiment right now on X, Y, or Z? I find that Grok does a great job with that. Like you said, reasoning, deeper reasoning. I want to use Perplexity, and I like ChatGPT for writing, for helping writing
and easy answers. Right, like you would use Google search, you would use ChatGPT. Also, I think Sora is really good, or Midjourney for drawing pictures. I think, you know, so many people just use Chat.
And I like Slide GPT, works very well for doing PowerPoints. I mean, there's a million, you know, but I was curious if that's how you do it, because like I use ours for any kind of financial service questions, you know, but that tends to be what I focus on with ours, because that's the database it connects to, you know, directly NASDAQ and the other financial, Fred and Edgar and that stuff. So I was just curious, because I do think it is, because it's like I talk about in crypto when people think there's going to be one blockchain that wins. And I say, no, you're going to have, as we were talking the other day, Solana in the GameFi and in the meme coin range. You're going to have Ethereum for the TradFi companies that are migrating over to DeFi. And you're going to have, say, for those that need the huge throughput because it's the fastest by far. I think that's the same thing that we're going to see on some of these search engines also, that they may be better suited for different areas and for different, you know, answers.
Yeah, real quickly, Howard, just for my understanding of edification. This morning with UNH, I did buy UNH this morning. I started scaling in. I talked about that over the last 2 weeks that I would be buying UNH. Look, Warren Buffett likes to buy companies when it's been beaten up. And now all the bad news is out. Okay, the DOJ. Okay, great. The DOJ is now investigating. We already knew that weeks ago. Great. We already knew all the problems at UNH. Great. UNH is an interesting situation because DOJ is like, ooh, I got a lot on my plate, but it's my boss's problems. It's Epstein problems. I don't want to deal with those. Look this way. Oh, we'll find something else, and expect that. But this morning, I thought that UNH has now been beaten up way too far. It's a $600 stock now sitting at 284. I was in a little bit closer. I have to look at the numbers again, but I think it was around 280 when I jumped in. So this one is one that I'm going to stay in for longer term. I am scaling. If it falls down, I'll be buying more. I'm not buying a full boat. So I'm
going to laugh at you because you say that. Last time we did one of these was ASML that we said we were going to hold for a long time, and we sold it like 12 hours later. As you can see, I've had this target. If you remember, I've had this target drawn as the area to watch it for a long time. And when I say it dipped under my key level, it just dipped back above it. Like you said, I'm with you. I know the Prosper guys are all over it to watch it for the next couple of weeks also. So I couldn't agree more. I do think I love it. I love that. I love it. I mean, like you said, I don't know about the acquisition side of it. I think Mr. Buffett's money is going to go into railroads. And that's just very speculative on my side that that merger is going to happen. They're going to be the ones that buy CSX. Burlington, and that's, I assume, would be a rather large purchase. You know, so that's where I think his money is going. Like you said, he's got enough to go a lot of different places.
Yeah. I mean, CSX. If you look at the CSX, it's $65 billion. If Warren can just shake out his pants,
gives him another 280 to spend.
Right. I mean, it doesn't even really dent the cash. And most M&As aren't done on cash. They're done through stock options and all kinds of things, and it gets really, really interesting. Stock's up 4.5%, right? CSX is. Look, it's easily bought. And if we do have an oil crunch, let me tell you, if you want to talk about oil, being down, here's something for you. And Liz Ann Saunders pointed this out from CNBC and Schwab. Do you know that the number of oil rigs, in the world right now in the United States is the lowest right now in history? The lowest number of rigs pumping oil out. Why? Because we have so much oil. We do, right? I was on an argument the other day with some guy talking about how much we don't have a lot of oil. I said, we're now an exporter of oil. And I hear this drill nonsense. We don't need a drill. We just need to pump the oil we got, right?
We can't process it. You know, you and I have talked about this in the past. That's where that infrastructure money needs to be going, is getting new process processing plants and done in different spots closer to where this stuff is done. That's what we need. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were going to go a different way. I actually have a quote from Liz Ann Saunders too, and I wanted to talk to you about this. It starts with this one. JP Morgan and Barclays, Schwab all agreeing retail investors are steering the market right now.
So let's talk about
fueling upside and high beta meme and low float stocks.
2 weeks ago, and I mentioned this on the show earlier on Pre-Market Prep with Dennis Dick and Joel O'Connor. Okay, so let's get to it. Why do I think the market's frothy? That was the word that they kept asking me about because that was the word I've been using. The market's frothy. Why? All right, if I were to tell you that institutional money is dumping stocks at the highest level in history. Yes, they still have ownership. Yes, I get all that because there's more money out there, but they're dumping at the highest rate. And retail is buying at the highest rate. And I'm talking about even during COVID, right now, invested, retail has more money in the markets than ever before. Now, those are two things. I'm going to tell you, retail always loses. Okay, they may win as I always said in the past, I said this during COVID, they win a battle. They'll never win the war. Because why? Because the amount of money institutions have is way more money than the retail have. It's like 10 to 1. Okay. But let me tell you what's really got me bothered about all of this is insider selling is at the highest level in history, meaning the CEOs of companies, meaning the CIOs, meaning the technology ops, CTOs, people that are highly involved in those companies are selling their stock at the highest level in history. In history, these things are three things in history that really have me bothered. And I'm telling you right now, I don't like this market. I'm telling you, as everybody knows here, I'm long VXX, very heavy VXX, and I'm still buying more. And I don't do full boat yet. And I think we talked about that earlier. Yes, I did go full boat. They said, hey, it's sometime to do that. But the key here is to scaling. And I'll tell you, with all of this happening, we don't know when the rug is going to get pulled, but I promise you it does. And it doesn't happen overnight, by the way. I've talked about this before. If you look at charts, you look at during .com, you look at even 1927, 1929, these are the bad days too. Look at 87, the big crunch in October. The markets were already selling off. So it wasn't like it just happened overnight and this would happen. In 87, the Black Monday, it just happened. But it had been happening, and people were trying to buy the dip, or kept trying to buy the dip because retail was buying. Mom and pops were buying stock, and all of a sudden they wake up on 4 o'clock in the afternoon and watching the NBC News, and all of a sudden the markets are not that good that afternoon. The difference is today is that the speed of knowledge of data around the world is instantaneous, so it's even happening even faster, but not happening in a way because nobody wants to just go in and go to their Schwab account or go to their E-Trade account and sell everything. No one is programmed to do that. No one is programmed. Yes, you may have smaller accounts under 100,000 maybe, but no one's programmed to do that. No one's programmed to say, okay, I'm going to sell all my Apple, all my stock, everything, and get out and wait for the market to come back. So because of that, institutions know that. So the institution's like, thank you, we'll take your shares from you. Right? Or if you're in naughty land, you're in zero DTEs and all that. But thank you, we'll take you, and we'll exercise your new stock that you own, and we'll short on top of you. That's what happens. And so because of that, that's why I'm like, don't try to FOMO this. FOMO is working in every direction. And when you can't find alpha, they're going to find alpha somewhere, and they're finding it in meme stocks. They're finding it in I will say shit coins, but that's what it is. They're finding it in other places. They're going back to the old adage of where's the short interest at? I want to find short interest stocks, so I'm going to beat those. I'm going to go take that money. KSS was a good example of that the other day. GoPro. I'm sorry, I want to buy a new GoPro, but I haven't bought a GoPro in years. I don't need one. I got a phone. So that's what I'm saying to you. It's not just about the meme coins. It's about the psyche right now in the markets. And because we're in the summertime doldrums, all of a sudden you're not seeing that the volatility is low. So when that volatility changes, you're going to see the VIX jump. And I'm telling you, I think it's going to be somewhere closer to the end of August, early September. And I think you're going to see October being a rough month. We talked about that. I said I talked to Dan Niles. He said that. Look, Thanksgiving isn't going to be fun, everybody, if you're long. So, yeah.
Okay. A lot to take in there. So I have a few different things there that I would ask you about or say that maybe, everybody always says every time is different, and it turns out that it's not all that different. But my questions are, no one's really buying the dips. They're still ripping. In other words, these things aren't dipping. That's part of it. So like you said, is looking for that weakening hasn't started yet. So your timing sounds better headed into Thanksgiving than it does, right now. Because we're not seeing that, like you said. So is there. The other part is, we are seeing funds. Volatility, control funds are now 55% allocated to stocks when it was only 20 earlier. So we're seeing the hedge funds, the private equities, they are dipping back in, while institutional, maybe, the true institutional isn't maybe yet. We are seeing this do it. The S&Ps are probably going to flirt with an all-time high here, even with IBM, and others bringing them down. So,
and the old adage fits right here: when do you buy? When things are cheap. When do you sell? When things are high.
I agree. I'm just pointing out some of the differences versus 2008 versus 86 versus these other days. Was, like you said, there was a weakening on the market that people didn't want to accept. We're not seeing that weakening on the market yet. I mean, VIX is down at 1506. I didn't even realize that. This is right in my buy zone where I usually look out a couple of months and buy.
That's what I mean. When I talk about scaling, it's exactly what I mean, right?
So it's, and then I'd have to say, I mean, outside of a couple of earnings, they've all been good. And people are raising, it looks like everyone's willing to live with 10% or 15% tariffs. I do want to talk about, I was out last night and I was talking with a gentleman, and I want to talk a little bit, and I didn't tell you this before, unintended consequences of tariffs. A gentleman here in Ohio that owns a drill bit manufacturing company, makes 22,000 drill bits a day, is probably going to have to go out of business. Employs 400 people. You know why? His drill bits can't compete anymore because his aluminum tariff that he has, aluminum's not made here in the U.S.,
right,
is 50%. Tariffs on drill bits coming from China, 15%. Or coming from Mexico, or coming from.
But I thought Trump was on our side. He was all for tariffs.
Yeah, so I do want to point that out. This is a guy that's, is a pretty big company. This isn't a small company, a die-cast company, and shows you also how sometimes the unintended consequences that aren't fully thought through by the people that make these trade decisions.
Back in January, Howard, you and I talked about it. Never in history, ever, never in any company, any country, do tariffs work. They just don't work. If you,
and this was a very conservative Trump type guy who said, listen,
sorry, dude, you voted for it, and that's what happens, right? Yeah. And they don't get that, right? Well, they don't see, what they see is that the markets are going to be fine because I have a pro president that's all about the markets. Well, he really isn't. He's all about himself, and it's not as him. I mean, the past presidents were too, right? I mean, they were looking at what makes their constituents better. And in this case, you've got tariffs in the wrong place, and you're going to tariff aluminum. You're going to tariff copper. You talk about a housing problem. Well, these things go into a house. Copper is another good example of that, right? Aluminum is in almost everything. You tariff aluminum. Every Coke can in America is made with aluminum.
Yeah. And like I said, it was interesting to hear, sad to hear. And he said he's only got about a 6-month window for this to correct itself in some way, shape, or form, or that he can't compete. He's a big builder, big producer, and that aluminum, as he pointed out, and I had said this before because I heard from some French wine importers that aren't bringing wine in still, that said, listen, we don't get a rebate on tariffs. So if he buys, a couple of tons of aluminum, it's not like, okay, tariffs are over. Okay, they're going to give me a rebate.
Right.
And, no, now I own it at 50% too expensive.
And if they don't buy it and things change around, the tariffs change later, he's now stuck with all of that aluminum that he can't sell.
I'm saying raw aluminum that he at too much money. So
terrible. So tell me when tariffs work. When do tariffs work? I'll tell you when tariffs work. And it's not now, when I say tariffs never work, it's because I'm talking about blanket tariffs, right? I'm not talking about specific tariffs on specific things. A good example of that would be back in the late 90s when Japan was dumping washing machines and dryers. Samsung, South Korea, Vietnam were dumping all kinds of like refrigerators onto the United States because it was cheap and everybody wanted a cheap Samsung. I got two. I know, I can tell you right now, That's what happened. And when the president
targeted for a reason makes sense. In other words,
that's correct.
Or countries that have backed corporations to lower prices to, Airbus was famous, right, for a long time for that. Those things do work and are needed. Yeah, we're going to go across the globe at what looks like about a 15%er means you just hurt all of, we don't have enough raw materials here in the U.S. That's
we do have all the raw materials. We just don't get to them, right? Because why? It's very simple. It's cheaper to buy them internationally than it is to.
Right, and it doesn't ruin
why oil. Why was Saudi Arabia so big in oil for so long? Because it was cheap. It was on the ground. It's right underneath the sand. It's easier to stick a straw down through sand than it is to stick it through hard rock in the United States. But when we found the sands up in North Dakota, it's cold. We don't want to dig for sand oil up there when we can just and fracking when we can just buy it from. So what happened was ExxonMobil, all these big companies would stick a straw down the hole, find the oil in easy places like the Marcellus shales and like Permian Basin and things like that in Texas. It was easy to stick a straw in there, and guess what they did? That drill baby drill is nonsense, because when he drilled, they found the oil, they put a nice bow on it, put a number on it, and capped it up and left it alone. Guess what they're doing now? They're going back into those oil wells, pulling the oil up and going, wait a minute, I don't want to sell it at $66 a barrel. I'd rather sell it at $100 a barrel. But there's a we call it Goldilocks zone. So we're not seeing that Goldilocks zone because what? Because Saudi Arabia is literally pushing as much oil. OPEC is pushing as much oil onto the market because they're already in the new technology. The United States is saying, no, we don't want wind, we don't want solar, we don't want electric. We want to go back to oil.
The philosophy, in my opinion, is we're moving from oil to tech anyways. Let's just get all the money we can out of it right now. And then, by the time everybody switches over to electric cars and solar and nuclear's powering everything, we'll already be well positioned because we've made all the money on our oil already.
Now, I'll tell you one thing that's cool. I like, I have a hybrid. I don't believe in just straight oil or straight gas and straight electric yet, because I don't think that we have the infrastructure in place. But I will say that in my area where I'm at, there are more gas stations. There are more gas stations. They're being built, but they're not being built on just gas. They're having electric ports there, and they have, like, you can buy like hot dogs, and it's a much more convenient store look. And
I'm a big fan of Buc-ee's, and I've been watching all these fights that happen.
But yeah, I know you like Buc-ee's. I'm not a big fan.
I love Buc-ee's, man. Give me a brisket sandwich. When that guy yells, I go running. You throughout. I just, as you know, on my vacations, I drove through about, I think it was 14 states. And what I did see was exactly that. More and more charging stations, more EVgo, Plug, Tesla, and all the gas stations, even in my little Brookville, Ohio here, are behind our McDonald's attached to the gas stations. They just added a huge swath of Tesla and non-Tesla, charging stations. So I do agree. We are seeing it start to get built out more and more, and these companies are getting smarter that they want to make money from that transition and not be displaced.
Agreed.
Without a doubt.
Hey, so if you're out there, make sure you repost this right now. We're getting some good numbers this week. We've been having
you're a big fan of Buc-ee's too. I love it. Yeah, I can't go wrong with Buc-ee's. If I can buy a shirt, brisket sandwich, some jerky, and some new Crocs, I'm ready to go.
Buc-ee's and Crocs in the same sentence.
Hey, keep in mind. Hey, listen, I live in Dayton, Ohio, the world's headquarters of Crocs. So be careful. It was a religion.
I mean, I'm expecting old dad here syndrome to come out. You're going to be out pushing the lawnmower around the yard with a beer in your hand. I mean, I love
exactly
it.
What I do on a Sunday. Absolutely. Tick slightly down here, but with that being said, SPY and Q's both getting set to open to the upside. It looks like very muted though. Again, Mag 7 winners across Google right now. Nvidia moving up nicely, regained 170 there. Tesla, the big one, getting hit 332. Do you become a fan of Tesla at any point here?
Yes. But the problem is still the same. It's still Elon Musk. I live in an area that's very affluent that has a lot of Teslas. Almost every bumper sticker says, I bought my Tesla before Elon went crazy. You know,
I see those. Those things crack me up.
yeah. Please don't beat up my Tesla. And you're seeing that. And I heard, I think I told you yesterday, Michael Cow is going to be a guy here too soon. That in California, Teslas are even kind of frowned on there too as well because of Elon. They have an Elon problem, right? But they also have an Elon positive, which is that he's pushing the envelope to go into Mars. Starlink. I see Starlink has a new mobile version, battery backup, all that kind of fun stuff. So if you're in a camper or you live out in the middle of nowhere, that also increases where you can be.
I know our viewer Zora there, it uses Starlink to view into us every day.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you, those things are going to make money hand over fist down the road as we expand on the land, which brings you back to the same point, right? People don't want to live next to each other if they don't like each other, right? So,
okay, market is open here. Yeah. Market is open. First move on the Qs look to be flat. We were up about a quarter basis point, still there, moving a little bit up. SPY a little bit, move to the upside. Dow opens up down about 70 basis points here at 44,700. I think I have UNH on here, don't I? I do. UNH opens up 283.50 or so. So similar level to where it was just trading in the pre-market. Justin Sun just rang the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. That's a disgrace.
I mean, this is the guy that bought lunch with Warren Buffett, right?
And lunch with the president, because he bought all the Trump tokens to be invited to that. Yeah.
And I can tell you that I'm buying a little bit more UNH here, 284 now. So yeah. So I am in
I got in when you said that this morning myself.
Yeah, so I'm in averaging at 283.50, 285 already. Okay, well 286 now.
God, 284.68, 284.68 myself.
I hate to say this, folks, but I went pretty big, and I know I said this morning I was going to keep it, but good God. I mean, this is ridiculous.
I'm going to keep mine. I am not. I just dabbled a little bit.
286.50 is a nice 286.19, and I'm out. I mean, that I went. Poof, it's too easy. Yeah, I'm already out. 285.60 now, but yeah. Zora's asking if you bought it.
I am holding. My UNH is actually a long-term buy. I did it in my long-term portfolio. So I'll just put it away and leave it.
I hit my daily number already. So, you know, I guess I can sit back and relax now. You know, look, I think that the selling in UNH was over. It's way out of whack here. Now, we already knew the DOJ was coming after them. This is stupid. So, look, where there's smoke, there's fire. I understand that. But this is beyond now. Because it is too big to fail. And I don't like saying that 287. There you go, folks. If you're still in, there you go. Stick with Mr. Howard here. He's got the. But
that went into my I won't look at it. Zora just asked, did I buy Solana on that dip? I had called out 183 in our crypto room. Yes, I did.
Okay, now I will tell you what I am looking at buying here is Tesla here. Now at 303. Okay. So we're getting closer to that 300 handle there that I do like. I am buying Tesla right here. I'm going to start a position.
That one I'm going to hold off. I have 292 as my target.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm not going to try to catch that dip. I'm just going to be buying more down the road. But right now we're down about 9% on Tesla. We saw that. We know that with China's numbers coming out were really, really bad. That was really bad. So we now know that the Tesla numbers were not as bad, but pretty bad. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to target lower. Bottom of that linear regression will work for me.
302, 303 now.
And again, I'm more looking at it to add to a longer term position. Okay, what do we got here? Q's negative 344. SPY is pretty much flat now. Seen a little bit of a retracement on the QQQs, but not much.
I'm in at 351. I'm sorry, 303.51 is about where I'm averaged in at, which is where we are now. I'll probably buy a little bit more here. Tesla. I think the Tesla is beating up way too much here. Yeah, 304 now. Yeah, I'm liking this here. Because you know Elon's going to come out and say something cool. 304.50. Damn it!
I don't know though, man. They took him out pretty hard in the meeting.
Yes, they did. They beat up on him
right after him. They did not give any type of leeway there. Hughes just broke above 565 briefly.
Damn it! Am I gonna take some profit on Tesla too this morning?
Advanced decline down about 2,200 here.
I'm not. I'm gonna say longer Tesla. I kind of like this 303, 304 area here.
Chips are having a decent day across the board, although TXN, after disappointing earnings yesterday, down again today. I will say Micron's getting interesting for me again here.
I haven't used Micron in a long time.
They're at a pretty solid support level. I'm going to go after Micron here.
Do you always say don't fade the Musk?
I'm not fading them. I'm just waiting for a better entry. I'm not fading them. I'm just going to be patient. I think today, the day after earnings with them, well, I'll let the retail fight it out for a little while.
Yeah, I agreed.
So, you know what? Micron holds here right above the blue Sati level. This gets interesting. We're under 113 or so. So Micron looks like it might try to break out a little bit here. See what else is going on here in the market. Micron making the move, trying.
So I'm averaged in at 303.61 here. Howard, if you want to write that down, I will keep this one here. I'm not heavy, but I've got enough to I could make some trades here. But
so 303 what?
61 is my averaged in here right now this morning.
There goes Micron for me there. Like I said, once you broke that blue Sadie, there it goes, 111.40. I'm looking for a run to 113. See what we get here. Like to note, that spinning top on the 1 minute, on the 10 minute, not make me too happy though. Gonna be close to an exit here on BitDeer. Not much happening so far. It continues to slide down. SPY straight and even now. QQQ's lost about half of its early morning gains. Dow Jones down 67. IBM. What is it? What's that doing right now? I don't have one up. IBM continuing to fall here, down 10% now, Steve.
What's that?
IBM now down 10%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite there yet.
There, I'd look at the 200-day MA if it approaches 240.
I think they get back to 300 with no problem. I think it's a matter of time.
Snow up about 1.12 here today. Berkshire was making a little bit of a comeback, but hit resistance at this 485, the area of the 200-day MA, unable to break through, rejected right at it. Looks like a good spot for a cup and handle here on Berkshire to form. You can play that out. That'd be nice. Tick still negative here. SPY's gone negative. Dow down about 70 basis points here. RUT down 50 basis points. VIX has moved up off the lows of the day, but still down at 1520 here. Gold down about 70 basis points this morning also. Bitcoin holding up above 118.5. NVIDIA 173 here, Steve, almost trying to get back to an all-time high.
Yes. And
So
I am watching
Amazon, nice move up here.
I'm watching Tesla, and I took that dollar out of Tesla. A happy camper this morning.
Nice.
305. 305 was where I got out at. So it may go higher because I think they may be touching it, but I did like that run. So congrats if you were following me at the Tesla move again. $118.7, 119 seems to be tough on that Bitcoin there. Is there a reason that they're piling up at 119 there, Howard?
Nah, and it's not really 119, 120. It's trading range trading right now between 116 and a half or so.
Oh, 302.89, 303 on Tesla. Okay, so I got out right there on that.
Nice.
And I've made more than I expected to make today. My days, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I think I paid for everybody's Quasar Markets yearlies in the last couple of weeks, right?
Absolutely. Not a ton I'm liking otherwise right now yet. If VIX gets below 15 here, I am going to look at that. In fact, I'll start to look at that.
$305 again on Tesla. 305 seems to be a tough area for it.
Yeah.
People just are not happy with him right now. But he's been very quiet lately. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, what he did say yesterday was you could expect a couple of tough quarters there.
Yeah.
You
But
realize
it's not just a car company, right? It's a technology company.
all their profit, I believe, right now is coming from SpaceX.
Right. Exactly. Which is fine, right? That's what I say about Google, right? It's not about just the search engines. It's about all of the things, how they built their company, built a moat, right? If you're building your business based on one level of influx of money, then it's not right. I mean, you got to build a moat.
Yep. Yeah, I do think VIX. Looking at some October call spread there, maybe the 16.20.
305.30. There we go. So there's a little bit of a pop now in the.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I am picking up, Steve, the $16, $20 covered call here for October. We're a little under $2. So buying some VIX covered calls. Let's see what is moving here. I'm saying G moving up. Okay. T-Mobile up about 6.42% here, Steve, today after their earnings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That I just mentioned up 6.36. I
Gold
have seen a lot of their stuff, a lot of their charging stations around the Midwest here. Uber up about 3.5% today. Etsy up 4%. So we got some. You do have winners across the board. There are a decent amount of winners. The metals company up 4.82%. NASDAQ's up 5.94 as in the company. Biggest laggards on the day so far. Dow, as in the company Dow, down 12.81%. Wow, I didn't see that one. Chipotle got killed in their earnings report, down 12.5%. American Airlines down 10.82%. Southwest down 9%. You buying any of the dips on the airline, Steve?
No.
Do those start to interest you at all?
No, but I'll tell you one thing that I did say.
You're an American guy? Isn't AALU?
UAL. I'm a United Airlines.
Yeah.
You
a United guy. I knew that. I knew it wasn't.
I will tell you that I said this yesterday. Chipotle tells you everything about the retail sector. They love Chipotle, and they don't love it right now.
Yeah, I don't follow that one. And then when I say that, I've never really followed the stock or the buying pattern that seems to emerge with Chipotle, because it's sort of in between. It is a cheap meal out, but now in comparison to the Happy Meal, to the meals at McDonald's and all the other companies are doing it at a discount. It is not a discounted product. I think they're stuck in a tough price point right now for themselves. Sort of like Domino's Pizza, which got hurt on their earnings. Restaurants in general getting hit here. You can see Darden down today about 1.76 also. Bitcoin right back above that 118, almost 7 now. Solana broaching 186.50, Ethereum 36.50. Did see our man Chris Larson dumped on the retail crowd there his XRP at 360. He moved about 150 million to the exchange and sold it.
And that's exactly right. I've said this a lot. Like they're looking for exit liquidity, and they found it.
Yeah, that's a tough one because he abandoned the product to do Stellar. So he does it at the most strategic times too. I don't blame him. He's still got 8.4 billion of it. So watch out below from that.
Let's pull up IBM here, Hondo. Let's look at IBM for a second here. I'm liking IBM here a lot. I like IBM a lot. Their numbers were good. They missed on a few things, but their numbers in general were pretty good. And we're getting close to that 200-day moving average. We didn't touch it quite there, but I do like this.
Well, like I said, I'm waiting. I'll be patient for that 245 area. Although
you wouldn't scale into this at all.
I don't know. I don't have the conviction on IBM that you do. I don't know anyone that buys their stuff anymore.
Everybody, every single company on the planet.
Yeah,
but they're buying their hardware. They're buying their hardware. They're not buying.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but everybody buys Dell that I know. I don't know anyone that buys IBM anymore. I mean, I guess is it servers or something?
Yeah, correct. It doesn't matter who you are as a company. You still have to have physical servers, and IBM is the backbone of that, of everything.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that So for me.
But I think that for me, you have to buy it for the quantum computing. They have the machine, right? They've got the big bad boy. So I do like this here.
Do they though? I thought they've fallen way behind on quantum compared to everybody else.
No, they have. Well, they have the machine as a retail machine. No, they do not. But they have big bad boy Watson, and
Watson, right.
It's called Watson X now because it's a new version of it. But yeah.
Looks to me like the path of least resistance is still to the downside.
I don't disagree with you on that one. I look at you the least resistance.
And I'm not looking for it to go that far. Another little drop of a couple of points, but
right.
I think it could be down 50.
But institutions dumping, as we talked about. Institutions love IBM, so they love Big Blue. They love that dividend. And the dividend yield is 2.37%, right? So they might be looking at this as a winner here for them. Because if you're looking for a stock to buy and you're looking for a little bit of alpha, well, IBM could be it.
Yeah.
I talked about Google, weeks ago. Now look at Google. It's been straight up, and again today. And I think that people got the wrong impression about Google. It's all about search, and it's not. Got about 5 minutes, 7 minutes now at the top of the hour here. Howard, what are you looking at? Is there anything specific here?
Like I said, I was looking at Micron and it made its move, so we'll see if it works.
DOJ is taking a big swipe at UNH. We know that. But you know what DOJ is doing today? They are going to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell in the prison. And she's looking to get out, and she's looking to cut a deal. So Be careful with UNH. Yeah. Oh, how is UNH and Ghislaine Maxwell connected? Well, there you go. So.
Open door up 12.45% here. So
UNH is 286.70 now. So I made a mistake there. I got a little too early, looks like. Maybe we could pick it up again. I'm going to sit on my hands, Howard. I've done very well this morning. I made 2 huge good trades. And that's what trading is about. It's not about, I don't have to be in the market. I have to, I've got my percentages and numbers that I need to make, and I've done that. Yeah, Ron, absolutely. NVIDIA and Google moving up. Yeah. ADD down 900. Oof.
Tell you what, I said I was going to buy that dip on Lockheed Martin. They've bounced back really nicely, 410 to 425.
Yeah, advanced decline now down 2100 now. So it's going to be a negative day. It's going to be fighting that all day. So be careful out there. It's also the end, closing in the end of the week. So be careful out there. 287.22 again on UNH.
And we got expiry.
Setting at the bottom.
Yeah. Monthly expiries tomorrow also to keep in mind.
I mean, that PMI number coming out this morning showed a slump. So I mean, I'm not. Okay, here you go. U.S. Ag Secretary Rollins says in a video to staff that USDA will relocate much of Washington, D.C. workforce to 5 regional hubs.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. The USDA
agriculture to take care of in DC.
That's right.
Put them out here in Ohio. Put them in Texas.
Ohio, Illinois, Texas, Florida. All these big ags. California's a big ag state. Yeah. They should be there. They shouldn't be in DC.
Yeah. Bitcoin giving back a little bit back below 118.5 here.
Yeah. $254 still on IBM here, so it's still struggling here. But I really like it here.
An interesting note here: a $1 move in any of the 30 components in the Dow results in a 6.15 point swing. So
depending on the
180 points of the drop.
Yeah, depending on the company, but IBM is one of the biggest components of the Dow. So it is weighted. $308.20 now on Tesla. So I got out just a wee bit early there on Tesla. But the Dow jumped 400 points the other day. It's only down 240. So I mean, it's not really a pullback yet, and the VIX is not jumpy yet. But it will be.
So we've seen the dip here on Bitcoin, moving back towards the key middle of the linear regression on the daily, right at the same fib level. All the Prosper boys like IBM at that 200 also. Mr. Moon and Mr. Bauer leading the charge. Bitcoin dipping a little bit more still here.
Yeah.
Gotta watch any drop below 117,250 risks liquidations. Anything above 119.5.
Yeah, it's 119. It's 120 seems to be a really strong. A lot of sales up there. Not a big fan of that up there.
Yeah. A lot of talk that it's because that's where the options are all set up on CME right now. There's a huge amount of institutional money at that 120 strike and that 116 strike, so that they just cause the gamma that pushes it back and forth and keeps it sort of range locked right now.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So once they move it. Ron, how's Mr. Bauer? He's good. I was in Chicago with him last week. He had mountain lions at the house in Colorado. That's some scary stuff. That's when you know you live in the hills. Okay, folks, it is 10 o'clock here. Advanced decline down about 2,000, so it has improved a little bit. So we're starting a little bit of buying the dip. Q's back to the upside about 14, 15 basis points. SPY up around 12 basis points, but the Dow down, really being dragged down by both the company Dow and the company IBM. So we're watching. Steve is in Tesla. Oh, no, he got out of Tesla, excuse me. I am in UNH. Steve already got out of there. I'm holding it long term. I'm in a Micron swing trade here, or scalp, I would say, more to $13. And what was the other one? We're looking for IBM. I think it drops down to that 200-day moving average for me, right around that 246 area. That's where I start to get very, very interesting. Steve, anything else you're watching today?
I am going to be watching one thing a little bit later, and that's my silver, still at 39.03 here. I think we go to 43. I'm watching silver pretty strongly because there was a big dip on silver this morning, and look at that dip just being bought right back up. So the meme coins are still, the Wall Street bets are still in play right now. So be careful out there.
Absolutely, everybody. We'll see you in the morning.